All right, I think we'll get started. Welcome, everyone. I hope you've been enjoying this virtual conference so far. My name is John Gregory from Cornell. I'm the Associate Director for Annual Giving for Student and Campus Life and Athletics, and I'll be your tour guide today for an awesome session, Clicks to Commits, Winning the Modern Giving Day. So my job here as your guide is to kind of orient you about, kind of what you're going to hear and from some of the great experts, our colleagues here in the Ivy League that you'll hear from. They're the main attraction. And we're going to go around and spend a couple minutes with each speaker, and they're going to unpack a unique element of their giving day and what makes their system tick. But really the goal is to get to a Q&A session as quick as we can, because that's where the magic will happen. So know that we'll spend maybe 30 minutes or so kind of talking about our different giving days across the Ivy League, and spend a healthy amount of time fielding questions from you and hopefully having a discussion on the future of giving days for our organizations. With that said, especially because we're at the end of the day, we are going to flex on you and ask you to be a little bit interactive. So we have some polls coming your way in a minute. So let's get it started. So if you're not familiar with Slido before, open another browser, pick up your phone, and you can interact with our first poll here. What's something you want most answered today? We gave you a couple things here to pick from, but would love your engagement here for a second. So what do you want answered today? How to stand out in the giving day noise? What digital tactics are working? How should giving days evolve? This will be a really nice pulse check for our panelists. Right? Yeah. What's worth the effort and what's not? What can we stop doing? Awesome engagement here. We'll let it go for just another second. All right. So moral of the story, there's a lot of things we want answered today. And I'm really excited to introduce you here in a second to a crew that's going to answer these questions for you. So I won't go too deep into introducing everybody. You'll get to hear from everyone, and they'll tell you a little bit more about their role at their institution. But a really diverse panel. We have Blake from Yale, Holly from Brown, Lynne from Cornell, and Logan from the University of Chicago. What I want to share with you before we have Lynne kick us off is all of our giving days are really different, right? That's why we assembled this all-star panel. So when you think about what makes our giving days different, we have giving days here in the Ivy League or in that Ivy Plus cohort that happen in different times of the year. You'll see at some institutions, we're doing more than one giving day. We use a variety of platforms with a variety of different goals for why we do our giving days, right? So there's a little something for everyone here today. And I'm really excited to jump right in. So without further ado, what you'll hear from us today, you'll hear about some peer-to-peer activity and strategies, what giving day on the front line looks like, some best practice in gamification and some things that are working for our colleagues. And of course, we'll talk about multi-channel. What are the different ways we're communicating with our donors through the giving day space? So with that said, let's welcome in Lynne Haberstock from Cornell University to talk about some of the great work that she's doing. Lynne.
Hey, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. Giving Day is for everybody. And one of the things that I really enjoy about how we handle Giving Day at the law school is that it is a big event, but we're also figuring out ways to get every member of the community involved. And so I'm going to go this backwards of the bullet points, but we really are interested in some faculty fundraising, in student fundraising, and then we were trying to revive our big law challenge. We have in the past had some conflicts with faculty wanting to do fundraising, and so we decided to utilize the Giving Day champion functionality of GiveGab to help faculty see that they could have an impact on areas that they cared deeply about. And our kind of show pony for that is Sandra Babcock, who is the director of the Cornell Center for on the Death Penalty worldwide. And since she has embraced the Giving Day Champion function and has really leaned into her social media and to her email and to all of the tools that we give her, she has perpetually been one of the top 10 fundraisers at the university, raising anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000 per year for the Cornell Center on the Death Penalty. That makes her really proud, and it makes her, she said, I raised more than the entire wide receiver corps of the football team, and that, she will tell you that regularly. And that is a way, again, to kind of involve faculty in Giving Day. Student fundraising, some colleges and units and universities have some thoughts around whether it's appropriate for students to be asked to fundraise, but we ended up wrapping our student fundraising for the 3L class campaign into Giving Day and a pie contest. And that gets the students really excited. They choose which area of the law school that they want to fundraise for, and then each of their champions can quantify how many gifts they've brought in. This year, they brought in well over $8,000 for our clinical programs, which tends to be the thing that our students care the most about. In the past, the students were doing some fundraising, but they were fundraising for organizations outside of Cornell, and they were really struggling to track what the fundraising looked like. By using the Giving Day Champions function, they can have an individual QR code. They can see in real time how many donations they're getting, and then be able to utilize that for their pie eating and pie throwing contest. Our high fundraisers and our low fundraisers all get pied in the face. Being in the middle is a good place for some people, but a lot of people really just do like the idea of raising a lot of money and getting a pie in the face. And then the person who raises the most money gets to have extra time in the pie eating contest that happens later. And what I want to tell you about using this Giving Day Champions function is that our students and alumni are competitive. Like, they like winning things. They also like making their friends and faculty get pied in the face or eat pie. So and along with the pie eating contest, the faculty are also raising funds. So we have some folks that you'll see on our charts later that have raised a lot of money for an area they care about. And then lastly, many law schools have a big law challenge where they're trying to get alumni in various law firms to give and kind of get to 100% participation in those big firms. This is a tricky thing, but we have found some significant success in pairing a partner with a more junior associate, and then giving them the tools to fundraise on behalf of Cornell Law School by using their law firm as the Giving Day champion, if you will. So for the last 2 years in a row, Morgan Lewis has won the Giving Day champion, the Giving Day challenge in terms of dollars and percent of alumni at the firm giving. We want to continue to grow that particular thing because it creates a lot of excitement, and we send them swag, we give them tools. So we can move on to the next slide, Greg or John. So Cornell gives us a lot of tools to work with. And that, I think, is one of the keys to this Giving Day champion function working really well. Most of the rest of the university uses the Giving Day champions kind of like this, to individuals, sending, say, hey, you would be a great fundraiser for us. Would you think about getting a few more people to give to an area you care about? Here's the initial early access email, and then here's let's get started. Here are the tools. And then we send them to this Giving Day Champions resources, which includes social media things and prospective emails. And again, I've kind of twisted that and taken this to an opportunity to gamify and or challenge students, faculty, and alumni to reach out to their peers to give to something they care about. Next slide. This is really hard to read, but we do track by both dollars and donors. And if you can see here, we've, Morgan Lewis, and this didn't actually end up counting all of the Morgan Lewis gifts, but they led all Giving Day champions. Then we get down to this 2025 MSLS alumni campaign, and that one I didn't even mention. We have a new group of Masters MSLS people that really wanted to show how much they appreciated the Cornell law experience, and they wanted to be able to show the collective impact of them working together and giving towards the annual fund. And then down at the bottom, number 14, Professor Whitehead, great fundraiser, and he was just trying to get more time to eat pie so that he could win the pie eating contest. But then when you get to the donor numbers, you can see the bottom donor numbers. Well, got the MSLS alumni campaign, and almost all of those people, 35 out of the 41 were new donors. So that's a big deal with peer-to-peer. And then when Sandra Babcock, I already spoke about, and that was just her personal outreach, not the total amount that her center raised. And then Zach and Jade were both 3Ls who were trying to raise money for the clinical programs and who were also trying to either get pied or not get pied. People really wanted to pie Zach in the face. That was a big deal to them. And Jade. So next one. So here's the student event. I use Giving Day as an opportunity to talk about philanthropy and really engage students with what their philanthropy can do. And you can see that the students are manning their own table for talking about the clinical programs. And then this was a real-time leaderboard that they were updating as to where people, if you're in the red zone, you're in danger. If you're in the green zone, you're not going to get pied, kind of thing. And then the associate director of students in our dean of students office was the pyre this year. As you can see, she has great aim and she was having a real good time with it. Next slide. So this year, record-breaking results. We had a huge day for the law school. We are one of the smaller colleges at Cornell, and we were 5th among all colleges and units for Giving Day, so we feel really good about that. And then I wanted to share our posts because these are the things that the alumni were interacting with after the fact, and they were wildly interested in the student fundraising and the pie contest. So we had a huge campaign ahead of time about various student activities within the law school on, a social media drip campaign, but this is what they ended up interacting with. So that's our Giving Day champions in gamification and using a function that wasn't meant to be used as a competition,
Awesome stuff, Lynn. Yeah. Thanks so much. I know we'll have some questions coming your way when we get to the Q&A. Next up, I want to invite on our friend Logan from University of Chicago. Among other things, Logan's going to tackle some of the awesome frontline work and education they do with the team at U Chicago. So without further ado, Logan.
Thank you, John. Hi, everyone. My name is Logan Heggemann, and I am the Senior Associate Director of Annual Giving Appeals at the University of Chicago. For nearly 3 years, I have managed our Direct Appeals program within Central Advancement, and I'm also one of the lead Annual Giving staff members for Giving Day. Giving Day at the University of Chicago is a truly global celebration. We engage thousands of donors from all 7 continents. And at U Chicago, Giving Day goes beyond annual giving. Our teams across the university actively solicit and steward gifts across annual, leadership annual, and major gift bands, creating for us a 26-hour enterprise-wide celebration of philanthropy that truly touches all parts of the institution. So, like many institutions, we position our Giving Day in late Q3 to spur annual giving during what's traditionally a slower period for us. But since our first Giving Day in 2015, we've been cognizant of the fact that this signature fundraising event needs to involve all areas of the advancement enterprise. And, as a result, we've really leaned into leadership gifts as a key to our success. So, working across the division, we take a very deliberate, focused approach to working with our frontline staff. As a result, Giving Day is now a tool for closing open proposals, leveraging large gifts for increased baseline giving, and creating matches and challenges that bring in critical gamification components on the day. It's become a moment for us where kind of all fundraising segments come together for forward momentum. And, to that end, depending on the year, only about 15% of our revenue on Giving Day actually comes from online gifts via the Giving Day platform. For us, this isn't a sign of weak online performance, but rather it highlights the power of Giving Day in closing leadership gifts throughout the enterprise. You can hit the next slide, John. So externally, Giving Day seems like a communications and annual giving event, and that's really because it is. But now I want to kind of talk about how we engage our frontline fundraisers. Unsurprisingly, for most of us, so much happens before we even approach our fundraisers with any information about Giving Day. I mentioned we work across the division. We work in tandem with support teams in advancement like people and culture, learning and engagement, and prospect development and decision support so that annual giving and Giving Day are visible across advancement and that our staff have the tools and the information they need to take action. We know that our gift officers are busy, and for us, it's really key to meet them where they are. We're really committed to utilizing programs and information channels that our colleagues are already interacting with. And for us, this includes programs like our 30-60-90 staff program, which we provide a Giving Day 101 presentation to staff within their first year at U Chicago Advancement. For a deeper dive into Giving Day strategy, KPIs, and tips for gift officer outreach, we utilize our AM 411 series offered by our learning and engagement team. This year, for the first time, we also took advantage of our Advancement Weekly Stand-Up, which outside of our quarterly all-staff meetings, it's the opportunity to get in front of the largest swath of advancement colleagues. We have about 500 in the Chicago Advancement across all schools and divisions, so that's really our opportunity to, use that forum to talk about Giving Day as a pipeline development opportunity, sharing new opportunities and innovations for FY26, and really reiterate the importance of Giving Day for our fundraising mix. And you can hit the next slide, John. We also use key communications sent, including our weekly advancement newsletter forward, key nudges in our prospect development and decision supports weekly newsletter, The Brief, and emails to our entire advancement distribution list, really ensuring that Giving Day is at the forefront of our staff members' minds. At the same time, we also empower our unit annual giving liaisons with the resources, not only to set their own Giving Day priorities, but we also strongly encourage them to secure one match and one challenge each for their unit. This activates LAG and major gift donors to serve as peer inspiration and leverage for greater participation. You can go to the next slide. We also believe that having the right resources directly empowers our fundraisers to be both strategic and effective during Giving Day. So over the years, we've built a comprehensive toolkit designed specifically for our university and unit fundraisers, which we refresh annually based on feedback and results. Some of the highlights of our toolkit include a top 10 one-pager, which serves as a quick reference guide and distills the most important Giving Day facts, deadlines, and tips on donor engagement, which is really perfect for a busy gift officer. We also offer custom messaging templates, social media and Zoom graphics, which help make Giving Day visible wherever staff are interacting with prospects. We also arm our staff with donor FAQs and our central advancement communications timelines, just so they know when and how we'll be messaging on behalf of the university to their constituents. And I'm excited to be able to share some of these samples with anyone interested. So please just feel free to reach out and I can get you copies if you'd like. You can go to the next slide, John. So while my focus for this discussion really is major giving and how it interacts with Giving Day, I'd really be remiss not to mention several changes that we made this year that really helped us to succeed across all gift bands. So for the first time this year, we expanded our Giving Day incentive strategy to welcome lifelong learners, parents, graduating students, and really broadening our reach and bringing new energy to Giving Day, along with additional contributions. We found that college parents really emerged as a powerful segment, highlighted really specifically by their impressive first-time gift amounts to Giving Day. We also piloted early giving at the unit level, which helped unlock early momentum and allowed even more donors, particularly those affiliated with our professional schools, to take part in the day on their own time. We got feedback for years that a lot of our alum, whether they be physicians, lawyers, et cetera, just didn't have the time within the 26 hours to make their gift, but they still wanted to be involved. So this year we gave them the opportunity to make their gift early, and then that helped us actually reach key milestones earlier in the day on the event, and actually led to our Chicago Booth Business School reaching key milestones in the day with donor counts, and even hitting a record-breaking Giving Day donor goal. I would also say that one of the most successful changes for us this year was our move to Give Campus, which actually provided us with a whole host of new payment options. I think chief among them would be DAF Pay. During previous years, we relied on LAG and major gift donors to let us know that they were making a gift via their DAF. And many times we had gifts come in later that we never knew about, and we could have reflected in Giving Day totals because they were a result of our effort on the day. So because of our conversion to Give Campus, we were able to learn in real time the donors who used DAF Pay, and most importantly, who they were, and their gifts were counted in the day's results. So these innovations really help deliver tangible results, more engaged segments, and faster achievement of donor goals, and for us, really an overall more active Giving Day experience. And you can hit the next slide, John. So thanks to the support really of my excellent colleagues across advancement, our schools, divisions, and units secured 54 matches and challenges, which totaled more than $1 million in leveraged funds. We secured 322 outright gifts and pledge payments at the Leadership Annual Giving level, totaling more than $3 million in on and offline contributions. 9 gifts and pledge payments were secured at the major gift threshold, which totaled more than $7 million in support, including a $5 million proposal closed by the law school on Giving Day. And because of all this impressive work, we were able to leverage our frontline fundraisers to secure 5,413 online gifts, which represented a 12% increase over fiscal year 25, and also represented online revenue exceeding 1.8 million, which itself was a 27% increase over FY25. If you want to hit the next slide, Jim. So really, while our frontline outreach on Giving Day is strong, we still have a lot of room to grow. I think as we move our annual giving program within central advancement from a participation model to a pipeline development strategy, I really see key areas of opportunity, both in advocacy and international giving, which we've already been strategizing with our global advancement team on how to involve their communities better in the future. And then furthermore, everyone in our orbit is really a part of the U Chicago community, whether they, graduate from the college or take classes at the Graham School, visit the Smart Museum of Art, or are a grateful patient at U Chicago Medicine. So really, I think how we engage our constituents who haven't followed that traditional educational path will be key to our growth. And it's really something that I look forward to capitalizing upon as we move forward from here. And that's all from me. So thank you for your attention, and I will hand it back over to my colleague John for our next poll.
Awesome job, Logan. Juggernaut of a Giving Day there at University of Chicago. If others don't ask, I'll have questions about how you leverage those donor advised funds later. But before we get to our next two speakers, another little poll break, if you'll indulge us. What's the most challenging part of executing digital fundraising on Giving Day? What are some of those things that are our pain points? Let's see if there's any consensus here. Right, we're worried about donor fatigue. Coordinating across our respective universities is really hard. Are we just noise in the inbox? All right, great stuff here. I'm excited to introduce our next speaker. Holly comes to us from Brown, and as a fellow athletics fundraiser, I'm really excited about some of the things Brown has done to leverage gamifications. For those that don't work in athletics proper, athletics is your friend. There's a lot we can add to your respective giving days, but Holly's going to give us a crash course here on some of the great things happening at Brown. So without further ado, Holly.
Thanks, John. As John mentioned, I'm the Director of Development for the Brown Sports Foundation. I've been with Brown under the Brown Annual Fund umbrella for about 9 years. So we're all together, we're family. So one of the things I wanted to start off with, just to let everybody know, Brown actually has 4 giving days, actually 2 in the fall, including our Bruno Gives Back Day, which you see here. We have a I Heart Brown Day, which is our overall Brown Annual Fund Giving Day. We also have a Brown Medical Annual Fund Giving Day in the spring, and next Tuesday is going to be our Pay It Forward Day. And each of our days has a little bit of a different spin to it, but for today, I'm going to talk about the gamification and giving days, particularly for athletics. So our focus is on Athletics Annual Fund giving on Bruno Gives Back Day. Has been a very successful day for us, and it's a way that we front load momentum for our teams throughout the year. They set goals, and we have been able to help them get to 3/4 of our goal through this one 24-hour giving day. So I have a question. So what if your giving day wasn't a campaign, but a game? We are trying to, we are in athletics. Our constituencies are competitive. They want to win. So that's where we have designed our giving day with the help of our strategic partners across advancement. Our giving day, this is just a little sample of the page, the top of our page, but our giving day is designed by our internal partners, and we're so grateful for their assistance with that. So while this builds on familiar giving day principles, we are focused on really what the experience is for all of our constituencies. So we slide from donors to participants, and really there are players in the game, right? So we want them to have the best experience they can have throughout the day so that the momentum continues and they're not only having fun, but they're engaged. So this year, alongside with thinking about dollars, of course, that's one of our main objectives, isn't it? We started thinking about participation as a shared experience. Because what we're trying to really do is solve for the broader, more authentic participation across teams too. And as I'm sure many of you have experienced, we this year had moved away from most gift competitions because we found that they weren't very authentic. Anybody get any pet dogs giving to your giving day, or multiple aunts from different families, et cetera, that we might not see again. So we really wanted to engage those who will be coming back to us year after year. And also help out our gift counting offices so they don't have to figure out who Fido Johnson is. What we're seeing in some patterns is that because of these, we refocused around a few core principles. First, that participation does matter. We love the big gifts, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, or I will. And second, the technology layer. With support from the partners, like I mentioned, we've built our own microsite with not only 1 or 2 leaderboards, but 3, so that we could accommodate all of our constituencies. We also, the third item is people alignment. Our staffs, our coaches, our student athletes, and including our parents, our athletes, student alumni, we want them to be all engaged throughout the 24 days. So when we talk about gamification, it's not complicated. It's pretty clear that these folks want to step right in and join the game. And we want them to feel like they're part of their players too. So once that's in place, the next question is, how do we structure the competition? Would you mind moving to the next slide, please? So we talked about I talked a little bit about some of the competitions that we have, and they may look familiar to you. You're going to see that, yes, we do tiles, etc. But what we've moved to was competitions that everybody could participate in. And as you can see, I know it's a little tiny, but our teams, our parents, our varsity athletes can earn dollars for their teams if they finish in first, second, or third place. So these dollars go directly to the team's annual fund. So we have the current parent competitions, the varsity sport competitions, which are both dollars raised and elite participation. Then we have our team leaderboards. So you can see that on our microsite as well. And they're divided up into brackets according to basically team size and their universes, as well as like the dollars that their support that we've seen from them in the past. So they're organized so that they have an equal chance to win. This year, what was new is we added club sports. We saw a rise in participation in club sports, and we thought, well, why not include them? And we introduced a team versus team competition for them. There were prize amounts also awarded. So we really that was a resounding success, and they want to learn more this year because they were like, oh, there's something for us. We were very intentional about keeping engagement moving through the day as well. It's because it's just not the student athletes, parents, volunteers, and coaches all contributing to the same outcome. But we wanted to make sure that if you see here with the brackets that you could be first, second, or third, but that fourth and fifth place could really make a turn later in the afternoon or evening, which we see most of our drive. And so we do send out in the hunt emails to get them motivated just to those teams in each of the brackets. And that kind of spurs on all of the teams and the athletes, et cetera, who, which I didn't mention, are promoting the day through social media all day long. So we've gotten them involved as well. And that's some of the ways that the team that makes it the day feel dynamic with these competitions that are arranged for different constituencies. And I failed to mention, and we don't have it up here, but we do have a behind the scenes competition for our volunteers who use Give Campus. We offered $1,000 to the top 5 volunteer alumni who were using the portal and had the most outreach for the day. Very simple, structured, and that's what we're trying to keep here, is very simple, so that when people come back to our microsite, that they're familiar with the day, they know how it's going to go, and they can track their teams very easily. So that's part of the structure. The next piece of this is a little deeper dive, and if you wouldn't mind moving to the next slide. So team challenges. I know that many of you have, we're all incorporating these little tiles. They're awesome because they contain a lot of information. They keep people up to speed with what's going on. And you flip the tile and you can see what the team challenges. We secure, this year we had 29 team challenges. So that was for each one of our teams. And this even inspires more giving because the teams want to win the additional dollars, whether it's a dollar for dollar match or it's a beat our best. And some of these challenges can be up to $350,000, or they can be, we typically have them over at least a minimum of $10,000, depending on the team. We talked about when we go live, you can actually see, and when we go live with this, we can actually see the impact because obviously the dollars are going up, the participation is going up, and then they have the leaderboard to reflect on how their actual team is doing. This actually, it unlocks and the activity all day long, and you'll see pick up across like I mentioned, the social services, the social pieces that our athletes, our coaches, et cetera, are involved in doing. And for alumni and parents, it's simple. They want their team to win, and this gives them a lot of motivation to do so. So for challengers, oftentimes they're board members, they're high-level donors. We start securing those challengers early on, and we want their gifts become catalytic, if you will, and it drives the real-time momentum. They bring in more people, they get engaged as well, and it helps set the pace for the day. Okay, slide, please. So I put this slide on here just to show again how many of our constituencies are involved in the day. We do activate them with tools, toolkits, etc. This does not, outside of our external constituencies, we also have our internal partners who we can't thank enough because they are working alongside us to help activate the donors all day long. So I just wanted to break out this different audiences and this one, but who come together in this game to play. And so they all have a different role. And so our alumni athletes, they're here for the loyalty, the legacy, and the identity. They always come back to support their team. Parents, they're looking at current impact and immediacy. They want to know, they're looking like, how can I help my team? My child's on the team. I want to see them succeed, and I want to see them be able to utilize the funds that we're receiving. Student athletes, they're all about the culture, the visibility, and their future identity. We're growing them. We're helping them learn about philanthropy and why it's important to give back. And by getting them involved through social media and getting their parents involved, family and friends, they are beginning their road to early philanthropy. Coaches and administrators, well, they're natural competitors, aren't they? So they are building the competition and among their connections. They're very connected to our alumni and to parents, so they are building that as we go through this giving day. It's a really good talking point. Our board members, I mentioned that leadership is key. They're the anchor of our team challenges, and they have catalytic giving. So as I see it, and so volunteers. Relationships and activation points. They are there to build those peer-to-peer relationships through that Give Campus tool and start activating their friends and peers to get engaged and involved back with Brown. Sometimes they have obviously better connections than we do at times with those who we might have lost along the way. So we've seen a lot of success with the Give Campus tool. And then, of course, we have the Friends of Athletics. Might not have been a alumni athlete or a parent, but they are they have some sort of connection, whether it's like they're friends of the student athlete or the parents, et cetera, and they provide the affiliation and community support. So it's not one audience, it's many groups activating the day all at the same time, and they're all in the game. Okay, great. So when you connect all of that, what changes is how the day really feels. You can see that engagement happening live. Everybody's feeding off like that competition. Competition builds throughout the day. It's, numbers go up, numbers go down, team moves ahead, and then another team's going to move ahead of that. That's when positioning is still shifting, and a single gift can make an impact, particularly in our evening hours at the 11:50 time frame. We see most of our some of our larger gifts come in. So just to ground this a little bit, I will wrap this up. This year, we have been very successful with this model, and we are tweaking as we go, and learn more about our donors and learn more what works for them. We have had approximately we've raised almost $1 million every year at least for the last 3 years. We had a 17.5% increase pretty much year over year. This year we raised a record of 5.4 million in one day from 4,600 donors. A little slightly lower, I will give you that, because we took out all the others, the Fidos, the goldfish that were making gifts. But what we did see was an increase in giving despite the fewer donors. So we are tweaking that framework and hoping that we can get those some new donors back in the fold. So with more teams engaged, we have more people involved, and at its core, it becomes something that you can actually watch unfold, like we've talked about, and that's why it makes it so exciting and watch to see who the winners are going to be. At the end of the day, the shift is simple. We stopped designing for transactions and started designing for participation. So that's it.
Awesome job, Holly. While Cornell and Brown compete a lot against each other throughout the year, we don't compete on each other's giving days. So I am excited to steal a lot from
Thank you.
what Brown has to offer. With that said, our friend Blake from Yale is going to bring us on home some awesome things happening at Yale in terms of how they leverage reunions on giving days and some great multi-channel work that they're doing. So without further ado, let's invite in Blake from Yale.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Glad to be here. I'm Blake Bergeron, an assistant director with the Yale Alumni Fund, and I support fundraising efforts with the Yale College classes of 1996 to 2004. I'm pleased to share a slightly different, and I'll admit smaller scale approach to giving days here. First, a little context to start. Yale's Alumni Fund staff work with classes during and outside of reunion years to raise unrestricted gifts, while Yale also has a devoted reunion giving team that specifically supports classes during reunion years and recruits a separate group of volunteers who solicit larger gifts in any area. Those two teams have historically worked very closely, but until recently, they conducted special challenges and other types of time-constrained fundraising efforts on a case-by-case basis. And so with these reunion giving days, Yale introduced a fun, formalized, and easily replicable model for energizing reunion classes, soliciting annual gifts, and in some cases, creating urgency for some larger contributions. Most of these giving days happen in the early spring. They drive significant participation during a relatively slow time in the fiscal year, and they motivate donors to make those reunion commitments a little bit earlier on. Across the decades, classes have seen really big boosts in their donors and dollar numbers as a result of the giving days, with our best giving day bringing in 99 contributions, representing over $117,000 in new unrestricted support. So kudos to the class of 1985 for their 40th reunion on that. Next slide, please. So today I'm going to focus on one aspect of our giving days that I think applies to most giving days, and that's the importance of reaching out over a variety of channels, or I'll say here one channel after another. You'll see here Leonardo DiCaprio in this year's Best Picture, one battle after another. I think he's kind of channeling that frantic energy we all feel during giving days, but I will admit I'm probably a little less likely to pick up the phone than he is during the giving day, but that is also an excellent channel for reaching some of our donors. When we think about the channels that we're using for a giving day, I think a good starting point is to acknowledge the fundamental challenge of a giving day, along with the fundamental opportunity that I think a giving day presents. That challenge is, how do we engage as many donors as possible in a 24-hour period? And clearly communicating across a range of channels and activating a variety of partners that you're involved with is essential to accomplishing that. But there is also an opportunity to this 24-hour time. As fundraisers, we often ask ourselves, how much is too much? And when it comes to soliciting, and I'm sure we've all had instances where our alums let us know when we're being a little bit too eager. But the inherent urgency of a giving day, the imperative to bring together as many people as possible in a short time, gives us sort of a temporary pass to reach folks over more channels than we might usually. Still, we need to be vigilant about how we're segmenting and make sure that we aren't overburdening folks and we're being strategic over which channels we're using for, which individuals. One example is a major capital donor with a limited history of annual giving might not be the best audience for a text message, and you might feel more comfortable reaching that person with the help of a volunteer or a gift officer. Next slide, please. So from here on out, I'm just going to take you through a sample schedule that I would use for one of these giving days. And I think it's pretty similar for a lot of my colleagues, but you will see some variation in terms of how we tackle these. In the run-up to the giving day, in the few weeks out from the giving day, we're often making sure that our fundraising volunteers are aware, of course, that the giving day is coming, and that they're equipped with the language and resources to reach out to their groups. Ideally, you'll do this a few weeks out and then share another reminder as the giving day gets a little bit closer. In Yale's case, we have both Alumni Fund volunteers and those reunion gift committee volunteers. So the resources that you share might differ a little bit based on the audiences that they're connecting with and the types of gifts that they're looking to solicit. At this phase and even further ahead, you might also consider engaging gift officers depending on what your strategy looks like. And kudos to Logan earlier for giving us a really good picture of how you might go about that type of work and enabling gift officers to really use a giving day to get some of those contributions across the finish line. A few days before the giving day as well, we also are starting to connect with our entire audience and sending mass emails to let them know that the giving day is coming and that they should mark their calendars. And again, reminding those volunteers that we will be engaging soon. Next slide, please. And so the big day comes, and what are you going to do? These giving days being a little bit smaller, you often have one or two people working on them, aside from like your volunteer collaborators. So, I just conducted one of these last week. In the morning, what I'm doing is sending that reminder to volunteers, making sure that they're ready to go. They have what they need to get the work done and reach out to their people. Yale uses Give Campus for a lot of this activity, so that might mean letting them know that a new template is activated and ready for their use. Around the same time, we're sending out our morning mass email message. I'm typically focusing those on our current year non-donors in terms of annual giving specifically. And this is a cornerstone of the outreach we do throughout the day. But something else I like to do is to engage those people who have already made an annual contribution who might be likely to make another one in recognition of this special milestone day. I send a personal email to them that acknowledges their support in the year thus far, but also invites them to participate, which I find sometimes is a little bit more tactful approach to asking for another gift of somebody who has already extended their generosity. And then at midday, I'm going to shift my focus to text messaging. So I'm reaching people who are more reachable through that particular venue. And also sending a reminder to folks who might not have immediately engaged with that first email. As I'll share in a moment, that also gives me a lead to follow a little further down the line. Next slide, please. So in the latter half of the day, we are sending another mass email. These are absolutely essential. As Holly noted earlier, a lot of activity happens at the end of the day. So you always want an email that is indicating that the giving day is coming to a close. Please make your contribution before it's over. In the afternoon, as I noted a moment ago, I've also been keeping track of those people who have requested the giving link in response to a text message. I think you probably have similar systems where you get better text breakthrough when you don't send the link right away and rather have the person opt into receiving the link. And so when someone says yes to getting that link, they better know that I'm keeping my eye on them. I'm looking at what gifts have come through. And if they haven't made a gift by the end of the day, then I'll follow up with an email to remind them gently that we would appreciate their contribution before the giving day is over. And then also throughout the afternoon, we're engaging with our volunteers, maybe sending them another reminder, and also managing any handoffs that they might have. If they have, someone who is interested in making a contribution, then they might be sending them along to us, especially if it involves like a different way of making a gift other than giving through that link. And next slide, please. And so just quick, a few samples. What you see here is samples of some of our mass emails. Something you'll note is both of them share different types of incentives. The one on the left is offering a tote bag to folks, which features our beloved mascot, Handsome Dan, eating some pizza. And the other involves naming scholarships in honor of the class, as well as a dollar for dollar match. Next slide, please. This is an example of the personal email I'm sending to current year donors. Next slide, please. This is what our text messaging looks like. I picked this one in particular to demonstrate that like texting can be a very dynamic means of communicating with people, and sometimes we get a dialogue going. In this case, I learned that this person had a 3-buy company match that they're able to leverage and really make a significant gift in honor of the giving day. Next slide, please. And then these are examples of some of the language that we're enabling our volunteers with. The difference here is the one on the left is for our alumni fund agents or / volunteers. The one on the right is for our gift committee members, and it features language about another longer term challenge that we thought was relevant for that particular audience. And I believe that's it. Next slide, please. Yeah, so our conclusions, in talking about those channels, we have appreciable activation across almost every channel, but those mass emails and the texting are often the most impactful and bring in the most contributions. I think we take it as sort of a article of faith and fundraising that most people need a few nudges to act. So it's important to work across different channels. And an incentive never hurts. If you can offer some swag, if you can offer a match or some other type of energizing item or opportunity, it's going to make a big difference. And that's it.
Awesome job, Blake. Really love some of the communication planning breakdown, and there's no better outreach than some of that individual outreach, right? Thanks again to our awesome panel, Lynne and Logan and Holly and Blake. Just a real masterclass of some best practice happening across the Ivy Plus sphere. But we do have a few minutes for questions. So at this time, I invite you either to drop a question into chat, or if you're comfortable raising your hand, we can call on you and you can ask any number of questions to our panel here. So would love to hear from the audience here in the closing minutes. Any questions you have about some of these awesome giving days and their tactics? And I'll get us started in the event some folks throw some things here into chat. Logan, you talked a lot about donor advised funds. What was the buy-in from major gift officers to say, yes, I am going to target those donors that use donor advised funds, and I'm going to steer them through that portal? Was there some growing pains there, or was that easily adopted?
Shockingly, no growing pains. I think it was something that, kind of like I explained, during my portion is, for many years we had, donors give via their DAFs and not be able to feel included in Giving Day. So, and we really want, Giving Day to be something exciting and special for kind of everyone, regardless of the gift band they're giving at. And so, no, I mean, I think for our, frontline staff, they were really excited about that ability. And I think also so was our gift processing team, because we could better attribute those gifts, and make them count for the day. And it really, I think, made kind of my team's process, much better as well, because, previously, if we did know about DAF gifts, we would, upload them as offline gifts throughout the day. But, sometimes we have, primary and secondary relationship managers both alerting us, to those contributions, and it, being able to route everything through, DAF Pay was, a much more streamlined and accurate kind of approach for us.
Awesome. A question for the whole panel. Obviously, you all identified some kind of tried and true tactics, some things that really work for your giving days. But at Cornell, we call Giving Day our sandbox. It's a place we do a lot of testing. You get a lot of license to do things a little bit differently, right? So for anybody on the panel, what's something new and different you're looking to try next year with your next Giving Day that maybe you aren't running full throttle with yet? So feel free to unmute and share an idea for next year.
I mean, I'm happy to jump in. As like my portion demonstrated, we are kind of like piecemealing a few different systems that don't all talk to each other to, operate these giving days. And I really enjoyed seeing examples of social fundraising platforms where we are able to gamify things. And we have introduced that at Yale for some of our larger challenge efforts, but it'll be interesting to get those up and running for these reunion giving days as well.
I'll chime in as well. I think, one of the things I kind of spoke to was, like very, very briefly, was our use of kind of the advocacy or champion functionality. So Lynn, I'm sure we'll be connecting after this at some point, because it's an area where we've always talked about how are we, engaging that peer fundraising piece, but we've never really done it well, because it always just ends up being one of the things that we kind of leave on the back burner, because not doing it, it's not going to necessarily hurt us. But then again, that's one of our biggest areas for opportunity. So I think, Lynn, expect an email from me at some point.
We're coming to, go ahead, Lynn, please
I was
jump in.
just going to say that we hadn't done a give to get in a long time, or any kind of swag. And we were trying to redirect people to the law school annual fund. So we did bespoke law school socks. It was highly effective for us this year. I think partly because we hadn't done it in a long time, but also, the idea that, it's something replicable every few years. And it seemed to get some people kind of off the fence. So I think we're going to continue to think about what things can kind of nudge them. I mean, we know it's multiple touches. We know there's a lot of the games, et cetera, but what other things can kind of get them off the fence?
Awesome. Well, we're kind of coming to a close here. A reminder for the rest of the group, we have an awesome LinkedIn group that Jonisha from Cornell has set up. So that's one place where you can be interacting. Please feel comfortable to reach out to any member of the panel to collect resources. I know that's an open offer. And for folks that maybe want a copy of the slide deck or want to be connected in some way, you should also feel really comfortable reaching out to me as well. But thanks again to our awesome panelists. Certainly inspired to learn from everybody here this week across a wide range of annual giving topics. And I hope everybody enjoys some of the sessions tomorrow. So thanks so much for attending. We'll see you soon.